From the Georgia WeatherNet Storm Center, live severe weather coverage starts right now.
Good evening. The time is 7:40. I'm meteorologist KJ Allen in the Georgia WeatherNet 24-hour Storm Center. We are breaking in with live severe weather coverage this evening. We do not have an active tornado warning, but we do have an active severe thunderstorm warning with a considerable tag. So that means some very strong winds with this storm. We've been tracking these storms as they have moved in from Alabama earlier this afternoon up into parts of West Georgia. Looks like we may have had a tornado touchdown in the Carroll County area in West Georgia, and now this same system now moving through the mid-state and then moving into parts of southeast Georgia. So this is where we have our severe thunderstorm warning. Actually, two of them together. This is coming from two different Weather Service offices, so that's why we have the two, and both with that considerable tag. So the one to the west, that one came out originally. This is mainly for Tattnall County. That has moved out of Toombs County, but we're now in Tattnall County on this storm, and then that's starting to move in toward Evans County and into the eastern portion of Tattnall County, and also heading toward the east toward Bullock County, Liberty, Long County in there as well. So this is going to be for portions of Bryan County, Bullock County, the southwest corner of Bullock County, Evans County, Liberty County, Long County, and Tattnall County until 8:30. So our radar indicating the severe thunderstorm, very large here just to the south of Reedsville, near the Collins community. And this is moving east very slowly at 20 miles per hour. So we have the possibility of 70-mile-an-hour wind gust and half-dollar size hail. So in the location here of the warning to the east, which is where the storm is moving into. This does include Daniels, Bay Branch, Belleville, Mendez, Hagen, Lynn, Claxton, Genie, Glenville, and Daisy. So we need to treat this storm pretty much like you would a tornado warned storm, even though we don't have tight rotation on this storm. Did see a little bit of rotation a little bit earlier as it was south of Vidalia and then making that move toward the east northeast. Very broad rotation, not enough to prompt a tornado warning, but the wind has picked up quite a bit, and that's why we have this considerable severe thunderstorm warning. So again, the reason we have the two warnings, two different Weather Service offices, but just understand this doesn't mean that there are two completely different cells out there that they are warning. It just means it's moving out of the Atlanta jurisdiction and then moving over into the Charleston Weather Service office. So that's why we have the two warnings. But very, very strong reflectivity coming back on this as well. As I mentioned, the possibility of half-dollar size hail. And if that is happening right now, that is going to be, as you can see, just to the south of Reedsville with the strong reflectivity. Actually, take a look at a couple of other scans a little bit higher up in the atmosphere, just to see how the storm is tilting. So this is tilting toward the southeast. So the hail we would have will likely be just to the northwest of our core that we're showing here on radar. So this will be pretty close to Reedsville, the possibility of that significant hail. Let me put a couple of streets up here so you can take a look at if this is impacting you. More than likely going to be up around County Road 455, out toward I.S. Smith Road, along Highway 147, possibly up near Highway 56, just west of Reedsville. Hail core right over Highway 196, and then moving over toward 121 there in the eastern portion of Tattnall County. So the damaging wind, just want to go ahead and take a look at Charleston radar, get a little better view of this so we can see if we get a little bit more. Yeah, this is showing even stronger hail core, and the reason for that is a little better shot coming out of the Charleston radar there. It doesn't have to go through all that rain there in middle Georgia to get to it, so this is showing a really good view of that hail core. So once again, that's just a couple of miles to the south of Reedsville, moving through Tattnall County, and that is going to continue to move toward southern Evans County over the next few minutes. So Claxton, Daisy, Glenville, you're in the new warning polygon off toward the east here, considerable severe thunderstorm warning. Going to zoom out, and actually we'll take a look at the statewide radar See where the rest of the rain is occurring. This cell actually jumped out ahead of this main line, so you can see the line sort of bowing out in several sections. That's an indicator we have those strong winds, so we're looking at the possibility of 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts, maybe a little bit less than that with the line coming in on the backside of this. We have no severe thunderstorm warnings tagged on this anymore, but this was that line that came in from eastern Alabama, moved into West Georgia. It looks like we may have had a brief tornado touchdown in southern Carroll County, and just to kind of zoom in a little bit closer on that, about where that was just above Rootville. We saw those storms move through and had a little tornado debris signature that showed up when we were tracking the storms a little bit earlier today. And now some pictures coming in from the Emergency Management Office there in Carroll County showing what could be tornado damage. The Weather Service will probably get out tomorrow to take a look at that and give us the official word. But other than that, we've had no other reports of significant damage. Multiple trees down all over the place. Just receiving word out of Dodge, Bleckley County, up in the middle Georgia area there, multiple trees down. We've had a lot of trees down in northwest Georgia, up in Bartow County and Coweta County, South Metro Atlanta, with trees and some roadways blocked in some areas there as well in extreme southern Metro Atlanta, and then again out toward the west out into Carroll County. So we're going to just keep an eye on that. Also a very large tree down in the Noonan area, so that's getting up into that Coweta County area. But no other reports of tornado damage. Again, looks like the best bet is a EF0, EF1 tornado probably moved through Carroll County a little bit earlier this afternoon, around 3:37 approximately, and we'll get you the complete report on that tomorrow once that information is released from the National Weather Service. But at least some good news. The main squall line here now moving in to Augusta. This is coming out of McDuffie County, heading into western Richmond County, and then stretching down here through eastern Washington County. See it going through Dublin, starting to make its way toward Hazelhurst. This was that main line, and we have no severe thunderstorms attached to it at the moment, so that's good. That could change. Does look a little bit rough down here south of I-16, but then this cell that jumped out ahead and formed with that warm, unstable air is what's causing us the issues right now. So let's go back to the high-res radar, and we can take a look at that storm. And once again, very, very strong hail core showing up. New sweep. We're seeing that motion kind of move up toward the northeast very slowly, about 25 miles per hour or so. That's the speed. And this is just to the south of Reedsville. And just checking in, I'm going to see if we have some additional information on this storm coming in from our partners at the Weather Service. Mentioned there was some broad rotation on the storm, so that's why it's kind of keeping a very close eye on it as it was moving in across Tattnall County, but not enough to sound any alarms as far as a tornado is concerned. And we can see that very broad rotation here going to velocity. First thing, looking at this little inflow notch here, it's pretty broad, pretty wide, so not a main concern. And then looking at our velocity, we can see this bright green near the reds and the darker shades of green. So big rotating cell. This is a big mesocyclone thunderstorm. They all are going to spin, have some circulation to them, and the larger that they are, the broader that rotation can be. It's just when that starts to tighten up, that's when we get that concern for a tornado. But right now, tornado is possible with this, but we do not have a tornado warning. But we are paying very close attention to this considerable tag. That's a sign right there that we have those strong winds that could be reaching 70 miles per hour, the wind gust of 70 miles per hour, and as I mentioned, the half-dollar size hail. So we do have folks checking in from Statesboro. Just want to look to the north of the severe storm. We do have heavy rain moving into North Bullock over Portal. That's starting to move towards Statesboro right now. It looks like the storm, just putting this in motion, is the bulk of this should stay just south of Statesboro. Now that is going to be moving into South Bullock, so heading up toward the Hope You Like It area, heading up toward Brooklet, crossing I-16 in the next little bit. Maybe we can get a time on this. The storm tracks have been just a little bit off, but let me just give you a rough timing. Should be crossing over Claxton in just the next 5 minutes or so. We'll have the bulk of the storm over Claxton, and then heading toward I-16 in about 30 minutes from right now. So we'll kind of watch that around 8:20 or so. South of Brooklet in about 45 minutes, and that should take it about over the Stilson community in about 45 minutes or just a little bit longer from right now. So just giving you just a rough estimate, and that's if the storm stays on its current track and keeps that current speed going in toward Bullitt County. But batten down the hatches in Evans County, we see that storm beginning to move in. The bulk of this will be heading into that southern portion of Evans County, and then right along the Long County line, and then into parts of northwest Bryan County as well, in Liberty County, and then just a small piece of Bryan County there under the severe thunderstorm warning. You can see, well, let me pause the motion here on this and we can see it. So just in that very edge. So our considerable severe thunderstorm warning, we're in southeast Georgia. I know that most of the state has experienced at least some heavy rain. It's been pretty quiet in parts of northeast Georgia today. There was some heavy rain and wind that picked up and moved through, but the temperatures are so cool in the northeast corner of the state. That's that wedge effect is what's going on. And just take a look at these numbers. We pop up the radar and we see temperatures. We're going to get an update here momentarily here on some of these temperatures. But yeah, still showing temperatures in the 90s in parts of southeast Georgia. We had 90s all the way over to the Alabama state line. Then you get up in the northeast Georgia, temperatures in the upper 50s. So we almost call that chilly this time of year. 57 degrees in Toccoa, 57 in Gainesville. And that's part of what's called the wedge. It's cold air damming against the Appalachian Mountains. And that can happen here in the state of Georgia and does happen quite often. You see how cool that is on the east side of the mountains. Big difference here between Boone, North Carolina at 50, Johnson City, Bristol, Kingsport Airport there in Bluntville, Tennessee is at 66. So that cool air just doesn't have an opportunity to move across the mountains. It spills down to the east and ends up making its way in the north Georgia, and oftentimes can make its way in Atlanta. So 59 degrees in Canton and Cherokee County, North Metro Atlanta. So that really has spilled in, and that helps keep a lot of the severe weather at bay with that cooler air. But what a big difference. How about that? 90 degrees in Alma, and then upper 50s there in northeast Georgia. So pretty amazing. Let's get back to the live radar view, and we'll go back here to southeast Georgia and just zoom out a little bit and show you where that main line is. Now moving in closer to Augusta. It looks like that is well inside Richmond County now, starting to move into western Burke County, and then that line stretching in, beginning to move in toward Toombs County, the west side of Toombs County, and the heavy rain just above Hazelhurst. Not severe, but this is pretty close. We can see a little bit of a bowing out segment of the storm here heading in toward Uvalde, so that's an indicator that we have strong winds here. Not quite at severe limit, but it is going to be very, very breezy there in that portion of southern Montgomery County, moving into southwest Toombs County. But our severe storm with the considerable tag, big storm. I mean, this thing has taken up a lot of real estate. Heavy rain coming down in Collins, Reidsville, still picking up that rain. The wind is dying down though, but we're showing the possibility of some very strong winds moving there above Glenville in that northeast section of, or the east section there of Tattnall County. Tattnall County kind of wraps around toward the east, but on the Tattnall-Claxton County, Evans County line is where we're showing the possibility of some very strong winds. So Evans County up here to the north and eastern Tattnall County with the strong winds. And again, this entire cell is rotating somewhat. It does have that counterclockwise rotation. We can see that when we look at the velocity, and picking up a little bit tighter couplet right here in the middle of the storm, and this could be being thrown off by hail just a little bit, but we're watching this Got a little bright green area, a little darker green, so we do see some rotation here. Also a rotation now inside our eastern severe thunderstorm warning polygon approaching US 301. So 2 spots that we're going to keep an eye on right now, not considered a threat as far as a tornado is concerned. But both of these severe thunderstorm warnings do have that tornado possible tag on them, so we just want to keep that in mind. And an update coming in from the National Weather Service. They are continuing the severe thunderstorm warning, obviously. Still showing that possibility of 70-mile-an-hour wind gust and the half-dollar size hail. So that's why we have the considerable tag on this storm. So Lynn, Mendez, Glenville, Claxton, Bay Branch, Belleville, Jeannie, Hagen, Daisy are in the severe thunderstorm warning area. And the Weather Service also seeing what we see with that increased rotation. It's in there and it's showing just a little bit more. Yeah, again, it's just watching those 2 spots. There's another sweep of the radar. This is just a little bit better rotation that we see. So we're going to watch that. The Weather Service is watching that very closely as well. And so we'll make sure that doesn't get out of hand and do anything it's not supposed to do. But just be, I would certainly treat this storm with a lot of respect as if it could be producing a tornado because, the next scan we could see that tighten up and it could be an issue. So heading over toward Highway 25, see the storm pushing that way. So southern Evans County, Claxton, that rain starting to pick up, and we're going to see the wind start to increase as well over Claxton. But western Evans County, that's a big deal. And let's check in with Bullock County. Once again, see some light rain starting to cross over the county line from Candler County and the Bullock County along I-16. A little heavier rain in North Bullock, beginning to approach Statesboro right now. So the rain is going to start picking up. Big difference between Georgia Southern Campus and then going on the north side of town, heading up toward Hope You Like It in Portal. That's where we see that rain really picking up here in North Bullock County. Then the rest of the county is pretty quiet for the moment, but that is going to be changing here over the next hour, certainly, before we get this completely out of Bullock County. Also keeping a close eye on northern Bryan County. So that's where our severe storm is moving that way. But right now we do have the 2 severe thunderstorm warnings on the board coming to us from the 2 separate National Weather Service offices, one out of Atlanta, one out of Charleston. And they're both looking at this, taking it seriously, putting that considerable tag on it. So our severe thunderstorm warning to the east covers portions of Bryan, Bullock, Evans, Liberty, Long, Tattnall counties. Our severe thunderstorm out to the west still in effect for a good portion of Tattnall County, central and eastern Tattnall County. And got a wind gust report coming in from the Reidsville Municipal Airport. They're showing 55-mile-an-hour wind gust observed there at the airport. So if that occurred at the airport, you could imagine it could be stronger in other locations. So the official reading there was 55 mile an hour. That's something else. And just checking in with some of our other radar tools here. So yeah, so heavy rain coming down just to the southeast of Reidsville. This is going to be around Tattnall County High School, where we're looking at that very heavy rain. And the rotation, let's take a look once again. We got another sweep coming in. Yeah, this does not look as troublesome now, the rotation. It looks like it has broadened out again, not really showing a real tight area of rotation anymore, so that's good news. This was the number 1 spot we were looking at just to the southeast of Reidsville, and then the number 2 spot now just to the northeast of Glenville. That's starting to show a little bit less intensity, but we're going to watch this. Again, this could change in one scan, so that's why it's important to to remain vigilant. This is pretty broad but noticeable rotation here just to the southeast of Reidsville. Let me see how far southeast that is. At about 6 miles to the southeast of Reidsville. Put a couple of roads up here for you. So Rendowdy Road. These roads are just numbered 248, just above Highway 23 there that connects Glenville to Reidsville. It's right on top of you. Again, we're not looking at strong evidence that we have a tornado about to happen or has happened, but we still have that possibility there. We do have a severe thunderstorm watch that's in effect for a good part of the state, and a few of those counties are about to be dropped off from that. But I'll overlay that information here on our map. Have they? Okay, so they've dropped everything. So there you go. I just saw the message that more counties are being dropped, and that officially drops everybody from the severe thunderstorm watch. And let me just verify that. Yep, so that's gone away. I was just looking here at the this particular screen shows us where all of our watches are, and so we're clear of that, but we do have our warnings. So the National Weather Service, the Storm Prediction Center, they put their heads together and decided to not extend the severe thunderstorm watch out toward the east. It looks like these cells, obviously we have our severe on these cells out ahead of the main line, and the main line hasn't really shown a whole lot in terms of severe warnings for quite some time. But if this holds together, we're going to see this slowly creeping toward the Savannah area, and that's going to take a few hours, so that we may see a lot of this falling apart as the atmosphere is going to start to cool off just a little bit with the sun setting here in about a half hour. And things shouldn't be as severe. But taking a look at our storm, that is a strong thunderstorm between Uvalde and Mount Vernon, showing some strong reflectivity here. So heavy rain, maybe a little bit of hail with that as well. Not showing a hail marker there on that particular side of the storm, but I am showing a hail marker just to the northwest of Glenville. Looks like right over Highway 280. We may be picking up, let's see what it's estimating. I could be looking at about a half-inch size hail, so somewhere in this area, probably tilted off just to the west or northwest of the strong reflectivity is where we may be seeing that half-inch size hail, and that is in eastern Tattnall County, just outside of Glenville. So if you are just joining us, let me put this in motion, show you where these storms are going. Overall, an easterly motion. The cells that jumped out ahead of this main line, they're kind of moving toward the northeast just a bit. So our severe thunderstorm should be moving into Bullitt County during the 8 o'clock hour. We'll time it out exactly here and get you a little better time in just a second. And if it holds together, should be moving on toward the east, heading toward Effingham County, possibly into the Savannah area. And then we have our main line back behind this. Maybe we'll get the atmosphere, some of the energy pulled out of the atmosphere by these cells before this main line gets there, and that may take a little bit more strength out of it. But just looking up toward the northwest, yeah, this is starting to get pretty stable up here. So we're looking at mainly moderate showers up in Sandersville, then heading over toward Milledgeville, and then some stronger showers moving there into western Burke County, heading toward Waynesboro. Jenkins County picking up some moderate rain. We're showing the yellows there. That's not really significant, but once this main line starts to move in toward northern Emmanuel County, Jenkins County, we're going to see the heavier rain begin to pick up. And then I think the Statesboro itself, downtown area, may see the storm just slide to the south. But South Bullitt County, you do have some heavy rain coming in, very strong winds, and a possibility of hail. And that's why we have this little tiny piece of southwest Bullitt County all the way up to I-16, almost there, for our severe thunderstorm warning. That may get extended out, and we'll let you know if that happens as soon as it happens. And I posted some pictures of the potential tornado that we may have had up in Carroll County around 336, give or take. That's just sort of a radar estimate. We'll get a better handle on that when the Weather Service does their survey tomorrow. And you can go back and look on the Facebook page to see those pictures, or we can pull them up here on the screen. So again, this is in Carroll County. And looking at some damage there, it looks like to an outbuilding, a farm of some sort. And got another picture. Give me just a second. We'll pull this one up. This one shows the snapping of some trees here. So this one is pretty indicative of possible tornado damage. And as we were tracking this, saw a very small tornado debris signature that showed up for about 3 scans. And so it's possible that that was some debris coming up off of these trees. And see some sheet metal here that has been twisted and banged up a little bit. So I think this is probably going to qualify as an EF0 or EF1 tornado when it's all said and done. And as soon as the Weather Service gets that information over to us, I will put that on the Facebook page so you can follow that. We'll get that to you hopefully by tomorrow afternoon at some point. John checking in from East Tattnall. Yeah, I bet that wind is kicking up. We had the radar estimating the wind gust up to 70 miles per hour in East Tattnall County. So it's really, really something. And once that moves through, it gets quiet for a little while, but then you have the main line that's going to push back through and bring some more rain. Doesn't look like this is producing as much wind, but we may be seeing some hail in there, so maybe another shot at getting some hail. And this is probably going to push up a little closer to Reidsville, maybe north of Reidsville, up around Collins, if that holds together. I'll give you kind of a rough estimate on the time of that. Should be in Collins, again, North Reidsville, Collins area, just looking at this really strong part of the cell, in about 35 to 45 minutes or so, give or take. And as I mentioned, East Tattnall, we're looking at the bottom end of this part of the storm that's around Hazelhurst right now, should be getting to you in about an hour. So a little break in between. Don't let your guard down completely, because we have that second line coming in. Really, it's the main line. It's all this out ahead of it that just broke out using whatever juice was in the atmosphere and started forming their own storms. Got another discrete cell down here just south of Douglas. That looks like a pretty strong storm. Let's take a look and see if we have any rotation on this. Doesn't look like it. That's just a big one. So that's one. Let's see if it has a lot of movement. Yeah, not a whole lot of movement. So notice how this just comes out of nowhere. So this is kind of like a bubble of water boiling in a pot on your stove. It just forms, pops up. It's not really moving very much as it goes. So these are the kind of storms that can rain themselves out very quickly. That updraft gets it going, then the rain comes down, that's your downdraft. And if they're lined up too close together, if there's not enough of a tilt and not enough motion, it'll cut itself off and it'll rain itself out fairly quickly. But in the meantime, these storms, that's what produces some very, very heavy rain in a short period of time. And that's what's going on right now over in Douglas. And let's take a look. Take a look at the statewide radar. Just see what else we have going on. Northwest Georgia, things are pretty quiet. We see another fairly weak line that's holding together in northern Alabama. So this is going to continue to push up toward the northeast. Don't think we're going to see a whole lot out of this line. The weather models just say that things get pretty quiet through the late night, evening hours, overnight for parts of North Georgia. But we'll see a few isolated showers out of that. Northeast Georgia, that very, very cool air, we'll even call it chilly, with those upper 50 readings in Northeast Georgia. So that rain has pushed out without any severe warnings. That's moving into the upstate of South Carolina now. Rain has cleared in Atlanta. It was a doozy there during the 4 and 5 o'clock hour rush hour with all that heavy rain that moved through. And the worst of the rain has moved through Macon as well. So there's your main line that moved through about 2 hours ago. On the backside of that, things are pretty clear. We'll see a couple of little pop-ups here and there. And then in southwest Georgia, it's kind of looking at some pretty decent cells. A lot of this has faded out. Look at all this activity around Bainbridge and moving up around Tifton, Moultrie. So that fired up with that warm air and now starting to fade as it approaches I-75. All right, so let's go back to our high-res radar. We'll take another little peek at our severe thunderstorm warned storms, and it looks like they have updated the warnings to take off the considerable tag. So what that means is the max wind gusts have now dropped from 70 to 60 miles per hour, but still 60-mile-an-hour wind gust, nothing to laugh about. Got to take that one seriously, but at least we've dropped it down a little bit. And let's see if we can take another radar angle here. All right, probably gonna have to switch our radars here for just a moment. There we go. I think we're getting a little too much data coming in and all at once, so let's we'll restart everything, see how it looks. But if you have any storm reports, strong winds, hail, let us know about it. Post it here on the WeatherNet Facebook page. I'll be checking the comments, and I can pass that information along too if you have any damage, so we can get that to the folks at the Weather Service that need to know about it. So again, severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect for eastern Tattnall County. Very heavy rain and wind falling, or hail rather. The wind is not falling, the wind's blowing, the hail's falling, it looks like around Glenville right now. And strong winds in the Daisy and Groveland in the northwest Bryan County. And that wind's going to start picking up in Pembroke as well. And the rain just starting to make its way into southwest Bullock. That's approaching I-16. If we're lucky, we'll keep the bulk of this big cell just to the south of Statesboro, but it will be a little different story there for South Bullock, and then moving across the river heading into Effingham County. So we'll, it's going to be a little while before it gets to Springfield and Rincon, but and it could be losing some strength before getting out that way, but we'll keep an eye on it. And then our significant storm, which is part of that main line, still tracking this, just to the east of Soperton, moving into Vidalia, and then the southern end now crossing through Uvalde, and that showing the possibility of some hail with that as well, just crossing now into southwest Toombs County. And could be seeing, let me see if we can get a radar estimate on that. That could be a 1/4 inch size hail there to the east of Alston in southwest Toombs County. And another cell, we talked about this one in Baxley. See what we have going on here. This is another one. Yeah, look how slow that is moving. So it just kind of popped up to the southwest of Baxley. The rain just really picks up, and it does have a little bit of that motion to the northeast, but not very fast. That one may be moving about 15 miles an hour on a good day there. But that's some pretty heavy rain, and that'll probably build up a little bit more before it kind of collapses on itself. Pretty impressive. We look up toward the north. You can see how the overall look of these storms change quite a bit when you go up a little bit toward the north. This is all spread out, so we're getting that stability in the atmosphere, rain-cooled air here on the backside in Washington County, up to Hancock County, Putnam County, Baldwin County, Milledgeville. So quite a bit more stability here to deal with. So we're just seeing that rain coming down, and not as heavy as it was as that main line moved through. Augusta's getting some pretty decent rain. Let's zoom in on Augusta and take a little bit closer look, see what's happening. Looks like that's right through downtown at the moment, and now pushing into Aiken County, South Carolina. Still some heavy rain here on the south end of the city and some heavy rain over Bushfield. But going out west of town and up in the Martinez and Appling, looking like things are getting quiet once again. And getting a little out of our radar range, the Charleston radar range in northeast Georgia here, but we can take a look. Let's just flip over to Atlanta right quick and kind of see what's going on in the northern part of the CSRA. Light rain falling over Wilkes County up to Elbert County. Not a big deal here. Things are just going to get even better. No big problems there in that part of the state. Get pretty cool all the way up in there with those temperatures in the upper 50s, low 60s here at this hour. Feels a little bit more like late February in parts of northeast Georgia than it does late May. And that's that wedge effect, that cooler air coming down from the east side of the mountains spilling into northeast Georgia, and that's helped keep the severe weather away through the day today. Still kind of surprised we don't have a severe thunderstorm warning on our cell here moving into Toombs County. That looks pretty strong, and we're possibly maybe picking up some hail on this. The rain's beginning to pick up in Vidalia as well, but this is not a severe warned storm. Not trying to make it into that, but it's a good one. It's a significant storm. And I'll check in and see if we have any additional storm reports to pass along to you. While I do that, we'll put the radar in motion. So Dodge County, northern Dodge County, eastern Bleckley County, and parts of Lawrence County, we are watching those storms move through, and there's the potential of 40 to 60 mile an hour wind in that area. And I'm just going through all of the reports here to see if we have any more wind damage reports coming in. I think I mentioned the tree down in Noonan that came in a little while ago, right there in town in Noonan. And we talked about the possible tornado damage in Carroll County, and that's going to be, that was in the Roopville area. There's Roopville-Veal Road. That's in southern Carroll County. That's where we may have had a brief tornado that touched down. And again, that happened around 3:36, 3:37, thereabouts. We'll get a little better time on that when the Weather Service does their survey on it, potentially tomorrow, and they'll put that together with the radar information that they have. And so the Weather Service also just mentioning the same thing we're talking about here, that this rain out ahead of the main line, especially our severe storm, taking care of a lot of that instability. So that's going to help weaken this line, what's left of our main line here, quite a bit, but still pretty strong. Watch this move there into southwest Toombs County, out of Hazelhurst now. The storm just grazed the northern part of Hazelhurst. And we should see some improvements there in Jeff Davis County. Let's flip over and take a look at Jeffersonville radar and just see what else we have going on out to the west. Yeah, some pretty good rain falling over Tifton right now. Not severe, long way from severe, but decent rain falling along I-75 from the Ashburn exit all the way down to Cook County and Adel. Showers moving out of Colquitt County, heading over there toward I-75. And again, we'll watch these cells here around Douglas. So really from Douglas, stretching up through Nichols and then to Baxley, all these discrete cells trying to line up with each other. So once they do that, that's when we start to get the bigger threat of having those strong straight line winds. Less of a tornado threat when they get in a line like this, but the wind threat does remain a factor. And we're looking maybe at some hail just above Vidalia. Yeah, I think so. Radar estimating 4/10 of an inch, almost half-inch size hail in this particular part of the storm here, just to the north of Vidalia. So that could be falling possibly just to the northwest here toward Terrytown. We could be seeing some large hail. So that's in the northeast corner of Montgomery County, moving in the northwest Toombs County. But no warning on this cell. It's a big one, but not a warned cell. Our one severe thunderstorm warning here on the board. It's edited just a little bit. Now taking out the western portion of Tattnall County, but we still have that eastern portion of Tattnall, including Glenville, and then pretty much all of Evans County. Evans County is a small county land size-wise, but we do have Daisy and Claxton in there. Groveland out in Bryan County is right to the eastern edge of our severe thunderstorm warning polygon, so Groveland about right here. But the heavy rain moving into Claxton. We see this strong reflectivity over Glenville, and radar estimating a half-inch size hail right now. So that is likely falling just above Glenville, very close to US 25 301 there. And this is going to be moving out of Tattnall here very, very soon. Just moving into that corner here. So Tattnall County starts from the north and then moves over toward the east. So kind of hard to call this northeast Tattnall County, but you know where if you live here, you know what I'm talking about, how the county is kind of an interesting shape. But this is where it's moving, northeast of Glenville, and then starting to move into southern Evans County. And Liberty, northern Bryan County, that storm is moving your way as well. And I'm just checking in with the Weather Service, see what they have. Let's see. Yeah, I think that they are also encouraged that we may be seeing these storms start to cycle down just a bit. So the plan is we got another, this goes until 8:30, I believe. Let me just confirm that. Got to keep all these warnings straight. Yep, so this warning is set to go until 8:30. Got another 8 minutes to go. The plan from the Weather Service is to let this expire at 8:30. So if everything holds like it is now, and we don't see any strengthening or we don't see any rotation forming out of this large cell, this is going to go away and we'll be free of the severe thunderstorm warnings. So we'll just stay right here until 8:30, talk about it and see what happens. You know, here's what I'm looking at. One of the first signs is you get a notch. So this is a very large notch. This doesn't really worry you very much, but when you see something like this develop, you kind of get a little bit suspicious. You go and you look at the velocity. You want to see if you have some rotation, and it is there. It's very, very broad. So this is just not a really well-defined storm for tornadic activity. You got some of the players that are there. They're just not very good. So this is one of the things that the Weather Service will be watching between now and 8:30. Does this notch start to show, a little bit more development? Then you flip over and you take a look at the wind speed. Do we see any improvement here on this circulation tightening up or getting stronger? And if that's the case, then that could warrant an expansion of the severe thunderstorm warning with the tornado possible tag, or it could bring a tornado warning. But for right now, just not impressive. That notch is way too big. It's just not really anything that's yelling out for any attention right now. But they'll just be watching the next few scans over the next 7 minutes, and we'll see what happens. But watching that heavy rain, they're moving now into northwest Toombs County, just above Vidalia. There's Lyons, so we're looking at that heavy rain moving in, possibility of some hail with that. And rain is coming down spots in Statesboro. Looking at the rain. Once you go southeast of town, a little different story, but rain's starting to move in very lightly and subtly right now over Georgia Southern. And that's going to pick up a bit, but I think we're going to move the bulk of our severe thunderstorm, which probably won't be severe as it moves into South Bullock. Hopefully it won't be. That should stay south of Statesboro. We're going to have a little bit of a clearing spot here right now. Not a lot going on in Metter. But then we have our main line, which is out behind. All of our cells out to the front of this will be moving in toward Candler and Bullock County. And so we'll be watching that over the next couple of hours before it completely moves out. But all in all, the atmosphere is really toning down a great deal. As we were tracking these storms a little bit earlier today, as I mentioned, we had severe weather moving in up into Carroll County, Heard County, Haralson County, and let me put the statewide radar up here again. So it was very strong, a lot of strong convection right at and just above I-20, and then we just started slowly seeing the northern parts of the storm weakening a great deal. So that was just a sign the atmosphere is cooling off, hitting that more stable air, but we still have a lot of instability that it was able to work with in central and south Georgia. And with those temperatures in the 90s, there's no problem to get these cells to pop up. You can see several cells here popping up in southeast Georgia. It looks like over Ware County, one just inside the Florida line there. I believe that's Duval County. Nassau County. Duval County is not even close. Sorry about that. Nassau County is the county just above Jacksonville there, which is Duval County. All right, let's go back and tell you what, let's look at Jeffersonville radar and turn this off. Just wanted to kind of look at these discrete cells. Yeah, our cell that formed over Douglas, this has kind of moved up toward Nichols now, joining up with another cell. So all these are kind of bunching up together there. Nothing severe, but still looking at some pretty decent rain. Charles checking in. The storms are nowhere near you. All right, great, Charles. I forget where you are. You checked in with us the other night, but hang on. No, I was going to try to guess. You're up in near Bartow County, maybe? But yeah, things are pretty quiet over most of the state right now. Got a little tornado warning up in northern Alabama. Let's take a look at this right quick while we have a second. Yeah, some decent inflow on that. Not the most impressive on the velocity, but just kind of looking at that. See, this is a notch you want to really watch out for. It's a little bit more pronounced. So this is in northern Alabama. This is to the east of Huntsville, where they've already had several rounds of severe storms and large hail and potentially tornadic storms over the last several days and last couple of weeks. So they're at it again. I don't think this is going to impact northwest Georgia. Got a long way to go. Again, this is some pretty stable air. So number one, I think we're going to see this lose a lot of strength before it moves up. And number two, this probably is even going to stay northwest of Dade County. So that probably will mellow out and then head towards southeast Tennessee. But as I mentioned, we still have the potential of thunderstorms through the evening and overnight hours throughout the state of Georgia. Our severe weather risk is improving, let's put it that way. Let's take a look at the convective outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. So our level 1 out of 5 severe weather risk, our light shade of yellow here, that does cover parts of north of I-20, but just I wouldn't even be concerned at all north of I-20 and east of Atlanta. That very cool air, the wedge air coming down has stabilized the atmosphere. Level 2 out of 5 severe weather risk still in effect. Now this is because of the storms that have already passed through, so this is going to be edited a little bit later on this evening when they take care of that. But we're still showing that level 2 over Vidalia, and in that same area where we're watching our thunderstorms almost to the Georgia coastline, but the I-95 corridor, coastal Georgia under a level 1 out of 5 severe weather risk, as well as the rest of South Georgia all the way down to the Florida line. Then after 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, looks like this, level 1 out of 5 severe weather risk. We'll deal with that. I think we're just it's going to be a pretty quiet day, not only for us, But folks out in Alabama tomorrow, there are going to be some pop-up showers here and there, but not really looking at any big, long, severe squall lines moving in tomorrow. But we're just looking at those pop-up thunderstorms, and temperatures will be warmer as well over most of the state of Georgia compared to today, and significantly warmer in northeast Georgia, where those temperatures were in the 50s and 60s. We'll see those temperatures back up in the 70s, getting closer to 80 tomorrow. So that'll help spark a few thunderstorms. And then Thursday, this is what the map looks like. General thunderstorm risk from Macon northbound up through Atlanta in the mountains, and then Macon south, level 1 out of 5 severe weather risk. So still looking at a chance of a few strong to severe thunderstorms over the next several days, and maybe some clearing by this weekend. So that's when we should start to get sunshine again, and the birds will sing and everybody will be happy. But in the meantime, just got to deal with a few more thunderstorms between now and then. But as far as the next several days are concerned, today looks like the worst of everything going on. So the time now is 8:30. So the Weather Service kept an eye on this, kept an eye on that notch, still showing it's not a real big threat and a concern. So the severe thunderstorm warning has expired. We are clear of all severe thunderstorm warnings across the state of Georgia, which is great news. Still could see, this storm, get a little rough again as it moves toward the northeast, again through South Bullock, heading up toward Effingham County, Long County, Bryan County, eventually toward Savannah. It looks like it should stay just to the north of downtown Savannah, probably going to mainly be making a line toward Effingham County as it moves out toward South Carolina, and still heavy rain. Now moving out of Vidalia, that's also tracking up toward the north, so that's going to head up toward Candler County and Metter, but not severe, so that's good. So we're going to go ahead and end the broadcast right now. Thank you so much for watching. That's right, Big Canoe. I knew that, Charles. I knew that. It took me, it took me just a second, but yeah, up there on the high elevations. And I bet the temperature, you were just kind of on the western edge of the wedge, so I bet it was very cool and pleasant up there on Big Canoe today, for sure. And that, again, helped keep a lot of that stability in the atmosphere and helped keep our severe weather at bay in parts of North Georgia. But bumpy ride in West Georgia, South Metro Atlanta through the day today. And hopefully by tomorrow, we'll be able to get you the information about that potential tornado that dropped in southern Carroll County. Probably going to be an EF0 or EF1 just based on the pictures that I've seen so far. But we'll leave that to the pros to give you the information. And as soon as that's released, I'll post that with the pictures, the track, and the whole 9 yards, hopefully sometime tomorrow afternoon here on the Georgia Weather Net. So that's going to do it for our broadcast for right now. I'm going to still be here watching these storms as they track to the northeast. And if they go severe with considerable tag, or if we get any spin on it, I'll break in and let you know right here on the Georgia Weather Net.